Today, Monday, April 13th, 2020. You can see from the chart the recently updated numbers as far as the number of cases in the world, the United States, and in Kalamazoo County. This is from 30 minutes ago this morning, so those are up to date. One of the things you're also seeing now is the numbers are reflecting the number of individuals that have recovered from the COVID-19 virus. Good news for Michigan. The number of Michigan deaths per day fell below 100 yesterday after 6 straight days of being over 100 and continuing to grow. Also yesterday saw the first decline in the number of new cases reported in the state. In other news, United Kingdom Prime Minister Boris Johnson has been released from the hospital and will finish his recovery at his country estate. All 50 states are now under a disaster declaration. This is the first time in our history that all 50 states were under this declaration at the same time. China has tightened restrictions on academic research on the coronavirus by requiring all academic papers to be subject to extra review before being published. Many believe that the communist government is trying to control the narrative of the origins of the outbreak. This is essential for researchers since China was the source of the virus and has gone through things before everyone else is, that the numbers need to be accurate so that other countries can look towards China and see where they are in terms of fighting the virus. Virginia Governor Ralph Northam has established Election Day as a state holiday. He also signed legislation that removes the requirement that voters show a photo ID before voting and extends early voting to 45 days before an election. Virginia joins Delaware, Hawaii, Kentucky, and New York that have made Election Day a holiday. Several states, such as Michigan, have expanded their absentee voting allowances and have also called for full mail-in voting due to the pandemic. We have an election on May 5th. I have asked, they sent every voter that is impacted by the election, it's a local election. They sent a letter. They being the township clerk, sent a letter asking for if you'd like to vote absentee. I responded yes, and I received my absentee ballot in the mail. It looks something like this. So I'll be able to vote and afterwards put it into a privacy sleeve. Secrecy sleeve. And then take that and put it in this envelope and then mail it to my clerk, which I intend to do before the deadline. If you get an absentee ballot, you have to return it to the clerk by May 5th at 8 p.m. when the polls close. You can mail it as long as it's postmarked by May 5th. You will be eligible to have your vote counted. The United States Postal Service is desperately seeking a $50 billion bailout in order to survive. The post office has been struggling for decades. Cost-cutting measures have been suggested by the Postmaster General, only to be rejected by Congress. President Trump threatened to veto the $2 trillion Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act, also known as the CARES Act, if it included money for the postal system. President Trump has said in the past that perhaps the United States Post Office should be privatized, and believes their problem could be solved if they would charge Amazon, FedEx, and other shipping companies more to deliver the last mile service to rural and remote areas not covered by the shipping companies. So FedEx, Amazon, and others do not go out to like faraway places. They will deliver the package to the post office, and then the post office will take it that last mile. Experts believe that this idea would further hurt the bottom line of the post office because these companies would seek to establish cheaper delivery companies. Today's political cartoon shows the continued need for personal protection equipment. The lead story on 60 Minutes last night, which you can view online if you so desire, covered this issue, still hampering our healthcare system. Most PPEs are made in China, and the communist government is putting restrictions on exporting of these desperately needed supplies. Those that are made available are at times 5 times more expensive. A normal mask costs $1. They're being sold for $5 a unit. Also, a new concern has been raised that some of these masks are being knocked off in China and are not safe. and states, organizations that are buying these masks are receiving them to find out that they are not adequate. Here's what's happening in history today. In 1861, Union forces surrender at Fort Sumter. This is the start of what we call the Civil War. In 1928, the first nonstop flight from Europe to North America, when 2 German pilots took off from Ireland and landing successfully on a small Canadian island. Lindbergh was the first to fly from North America to Europe. These 2 gentlemen, German pilots, were the first to come the opposite direction. And in 1970, the Apollo 13 oxygen tank explodes, causing the crew to cancel their planned moon landing, but instead to focus all their energy on being able to safely return to Earth, which they did 4 days later. This incident is made famous by the movie starring Tom Hanks, Apollo 13. Well, that's our current events for today, Monday, April 13th, 2020. Until tomorrow, this is Mr. Ruska signing off from the home office, reminding you to keep calm and keep on reading. We'll see you tomorrow.